agent?
It's definitely an exciting time. I think if it wasn't for the work that I had put in over the years, I don't know how many options I would have, but for right now, I've got so much options. I just know there's something big is going to happen next. I just want to be able to go to an organization and just be the best me, focus on nothing else apart from punching people in the face and doing it in a spectacular fashion.
David Adesanya here, your uncrowned 145-pound champion, here with the hottest free agent on the market, Michael Venom Page. How are you, champ?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just, like you said, free agent, unemployment tour right now. So I'm just enjoying life before it gets crazy again. And then, yeah, that's going to take off.
How excited are you to be a free agent with, like, you're no longer a part of Bellator. You have all these new possibilities, all these new things developing around you. How exciting does it make you?
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time. But I think if it wasn't for the work that I had, I put in over the years, it probably wouldn't be that exciting because, I don't know how many options I would have. But for right now, it feels like I got quite a lot of options laid before me. So it's exciting because, it's exciting in a way that I don't know the possibilities of what's going to be happening in the future. But like I said, I got so much options. I just know there's something big is going to happen next.
Why did you decide not to re-sign with Bellator after a 10-year run and being one of their biggest stars, if not their biggest star?
Yeah, you know what? It's just a case of I wanted to kind of really understand my value as a fighter. As you say, I've done I put in many years with Bellator, done a lot for them, done a lot with them, and for me, it was kind of like being outside. It means that they even they themselves have to reevaluate, my worth. So, like I keep telling people, it doesn't mean I've left Bellator. It just means I'm out in the market. If Bellator decide to put their foot down and like they go like, "Yo, we're gonna give you this," and so on, because I am happy there, and I've still got a few things that I wanted to achieve there. If they decide to put down the right money, then I may end up back there, but it's just nice to be in a position where that's the case. They themselves have to reevaluate my worth.
Let's touch on that for a second. What else do you want to accomplish in Bellator? After everything you've done so far, I mean, you've provided so many viral moments. The list goes on.
I think the main thing is the obvious in terms of just holding something of value in terms of the belt. And considering I've been there so much, and like you said, I've done I've created so many amazing moments. It feels like it's a lot of effort and just drop short of that main goal of the belt. I don't really care for the fancy things, but it would be nice to say that I'd achieved that. I think, and there's a couple of fights that I'd be interested in, like Amasov for me. I think he's an exceptional mixed martial artist, and I love to challenge myself against people like that. So, there's a couple fights over there that I would have been interested in taking.
You are 36 years young. You have a lot of first and second round finishes on your record. Because of your fighting style and the way that you fight, you don't take a lot of damage. Do you see yourself fighting till you're 40?
Weird enough, because of this, like you say, the style that I have, fortunately, because of that, like you say, I don't take a lot of damage. So I can definitely see myself into my 40s, mid 40s, if I choose to. The goal is to, wrap things up before then on my terms and, have other things going on. And I'm building a lot of stuff in the background. So I have other things going on that I build behind the scenes. So then if I do choose to fight, it's because I just want the excitement of fighting. It's nothing to do with finance. It's nothing to do with missing the sport. It's just something that, I still feel I'm capable of doing versus I need to do it.
And you still have the passion for it, yeah?
Oh man, seriously, I love this game. I absolutely love this game. I'm constantly being pushed in the gym with some of the younger athletes coming through, but yet I don't feel out of place. I don't feel aged in any way, shape, or form. I only feel like I'm getting better actually. So yeah, I always say it's not the game in terms of the fights itself will never be what retires me. It's the training camps. If I can't do what is necessary in the training camp to get to the fight, that's when I retire. But there's no person, no man on earth in a cage who will ever retire me.
Understood, understood. Can we touch on and talk about some of the things that you're working on and developing outside of fighting?
Yeah, definitely. So, trying to think how many years about 2.5 years ago, I was in Tobago. It was my brother's wedding, and just nice downtime, family time. I love my family time, and for some reason, I just decided to just start writing, stories, should I say, and my best friend, she's a producer, so I got back to her and I was like, oh, what do you think of this, like, this idea of a TV series? She loved it. So since then we've been developing the series. We've gotten to the place where it's literally packaged, ready to go. We're just looking at financing it. So we've been speaking to a lot of big people, one of them being 50 Cent. Obviously there's a bit of a writer strike and actor strike going on in the States at the moment, but we've been speaking to some big names that are all very, very interested. And in this period where it's the writer's strike and so on and so forth, we're staying active. So I'm developing the comic version of. So I'm going to make like an animation comic of the TV series idea. Keep the following going, like build a following. Sorry, keep that following, kind of that momentum building and moving. And then when the time is right, you'll see it. You'll see us on the big screens.
Can I get a little sneak peek of what the show is about? Like a little like is it a fighting show? You're talking about 50 Cent. That's
Yeah.
like, is it like a gang show? Is it a show for the streets? Like, what is it here? What is it?
It's actually a kind of a mixture of all. It's more like a future, a current dystopian world where the Chinese have taken over. So it's very relevant to what's going on now. The Chinese have taken over. And they are the first
God, this sounds
worldwide.
crazy.
Yeah, they're the first worldwide dictatorship to exist, and it just shows we're basically going to follow the UK and the slums and just what the UK would look like in that setting, basically. And obviously because of that, the Chinese influence in our schools, in our just in everything, in everyday society, means that everybody knows martial arts because you have to train. But there are certain arts that you're not allowed to train in because they're worried about people trying to take over and so on and so forth.
Like forbidden jutsu type shit, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you say Chinese takeover, it sounds like it's fucking based off a true story or something. But I get it's like I like it. I like it already. Some forbidden jutsu type shit. Is there a part for me in there? Can you like write me in there somewhere?
Yeah, let's make it happen. It's done deal. Let's go.
I wanna be the one doing the forbidden shit, the one that like reduces your social credit score.
Done. That's done.
Let's go. All right. Let's get back to business. All right, what are you looking for as a free agent?
As a free agent, I'm looking at there's multiple areas in this game that obviously as an athlete we need to think about. It's not just the fighting, it's the marketing side, it's our pockets, our finance. Making it easier for us to just focus on training is massively important to being better at our craft. So it's to do with a few different things, and whoever can tick the most boxes, that's where I'll end up, because it's important for me. I don't want to be another guy that signs with another organization or stays in the same place and then I'm complaining about money and I'm complaining about this. So I don't want that. I just want to be able to go to an organization and just be the best me, focus on nothing else apart from punching people in the face and doing it in a spectacular fashion, because I know I've got some crazy skills and I'm yet to even still show people some of the moves that I do and create in the gym.
The question everyone wants to know, And I know that you've been asked this before you are a free agent, and I know they're asking you this even more now that you are a free agent. Are we going to see you in the UFC?
Again, it's the same position. It's the same position. I love the UFC is a brand that I already pictured myself being in, simply because when I joined MMA, that was the main thing. There was very few other shows that even really existed, and even the other shows that existed, they were very small comparatively. So that was the goal. Obviously, times has changed. There's a lot of big shows out there now doing well and kind of competing. Can I see myself there? Yes. Are there fights that can be made there that I think are exceptional? Yes. But it's still, like I said, it's whoever ticks the most boxes. There's still a lot for me to kind of consider before I go over there. But so the deal's not made yet. But can I see myself there? 100%.
Nice one. It'd be awesome if you join the UFC. I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's a rumor going around. There's a rumor going around that the UFC has bought Bellator, and there were some fighter names that appeared on the UFC website. Yours was one of them. AJ McKee, the Pitbull brothers. So anything going on there?
Now, to be fair, I was equally as shocked as a lot of people were at the time. But weirdly enough, I think they acquired is a data thing. They acquired some form of data in the back, and it uploaded a load of fighters' names. But weirdly enough, that happened a couple of years ago, which means I've been on their website for a long time, but nobody actually saw it until obviously there was mention of me potentially going over, and then somebody noticed that, and then obviously all the other fighters as well. So yeah, that was nothing, to be fair.
What would your reaction be if the UFC had bought Bellator?
If the UFC bought Bellator, again,
is it good for the sport?
Is what it is. I don't think so, no, because obviously we've seen that in the past. Obviously, the UFC were the monopoly for a long time, and I think it leaves anybody that has a monopoly over it. I think it just gives them a bit too much power, and depending on who's running the show, and for the fighters, it might not be a great thing. So obviously, when there's options for fighters, it makes things 10 times easier, because you're not guaranteed a job, and that lack of security is not great for fighters. We bust our ass every day in the gym. You've seen it for yourself firsthand with your bro. Bust our ass every single day, and imagine just maybe one bad performance and you're cut. And now the wage that you were getting, the next wage down, because there's lack of shows, is next to nothing. So your whole life changes. So having competition is healthy for everybody, and it also, even for the big brands, because it means they have to keep bettering themselves. So yeah, the things like that, for me, it doesn't excite me in any way.
If you did join the UFC, do you think you'd have to change your mentality? Coming from, if you look at your Bellator career, you were the big fish, if not one of the biggest fishes in the pond, going to the UFC, where you wouldn't be a little fish, but you wouldn't be on top of the food chain yet, and would still have some work to do. Would you have to change your mentality to sort of adapt to that new situation and the new way you fit in the hierarchy?
For me, I'd say no, only because when I first got to Bellator, I was nobody, and I mean like completely nobody. Nobody on the scene really knew who I was. You might have had a couple of viral things in the UK, but in general, in the grand scheme of things, nobody knew who I was. But I still went in there like I was going to be the showstopper. I was going to be the best thing that come to this show. With that mentality, it made me the MVP that everybody sees now. So going into the UFC now, I'm actually going there with some form of status as well. There's no reason for me to change. I'm going there saying exactly the same thing. I'm going. This is going to be their best signing ever. I'm going to go in there and just going to create crazy noise, so much more viral moments, so much more crazy stuff, crazy KOs. I'm going to be putting on the best show, and that mentality leads me to, that projection makes it happen. So I have to go in there with the same mentality. It's not about, I don't really like to watch other people's pockets. It's not about anybody else. It's just about my journey. I'm just going to try and be the best me in a new promotion that I can be.
Nice, understood. It's hearing you describe it that way. Yeah, it sounds like a great thing to keep that same mentality regardless of wherever you are. Um, if you did
Mm.
join the UFC, would you like to take things slow and get your feet wet? Let's say fight someone unranked, because it's not like you're a low level fighter. You're a high level fighter, lots of experience, super technical. Would you want to fight someone in the lower end of the top 15, or fight someone unranked, get your feet wet, get used to everything, and then go from there?
I want top 5, top 10 max. I don't feel like I need to. I don't need to prove myself all over again. I don't need to do that. I just want to go in there, and we've seen it in the with the likes of Michael Chandler. He went in there. He fought. A top. I think he was top 10 at the time. Dan Hooker. Great. Great first win for him. That just sprung him into to title contention. That is the route I see myself in. I don't see it in any other way. I don't need a warm up fight. I don't need that. I'm not. It's not like I've been out of the game for ages. I'm ready to go now. Yeah.
Let's just talk about your career in Bellator for a little bit, because it has been a decade. 10 years is a long time. What were some
Mm-hmm.
of your favorite moments from your Bellator run?
I think it's some of my favorite moments is definitely some of a lot of people's favorite moments. Is a lot of those viral knockouts. When you're living it, it's a very different experience. People, that energy that is passed through somebody's screen or being in the arena is like on steroids when it's with you. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? That feeling, that relief, because nobody else had to go through the hard work to get there. Nobody else had to go through all of the doubts that you have in yourself, and the second guessing, and the bad times, and the negative times, the general life that affects you. Nobody else had to deal with all of that as well. So then to go through all of that and then achieve that moment that is exposed to the rest of the world is unbelievable. So the likes of the cyborg is one of the moments that I'm probably most known for, with the Pokemon celebration. Um, the Dave Rickles one, when I brought out the Infinity Gauntlet, I had
Mm.
50 Cent and Chris Pratt on the side, like going crazy. These moments are, and then it's weird because you have those big moments, and then you have smaller moments that kind of keep you on track. So, for example, I remember when this is when I was still in the UK, I believe, fighting, and somebody had they were calling me like the UK Anderson Silva, and somebody had asked Anderson Silva at one of his press conferences, "Oh, have you seen this guy in the UK? They're calling him the UK Anderson Silva," and he was like, "Yeah, man, that guy's good. That guy's really good, man. I like his style." Just that, it's a
Mm.
small win, but it also, again, I'm busting my ass every day, but to have somebody of his caliber, his status, acknowledge me and go, "Yeah, no, he's sick, man. I like him," is a massive win for me. So those moments, even the smaller ones, is things that I hold dear to myself. Um, and yeah, there's been many of those kind of moments, like even being able to like meeting 50 Cent, just because out of everybody that he came to Bellator, he didn't know what he was going to see. He saw everybody on Bellator, and he spotted me out of everybody on the roster. He's like, "Yo, this guy's crazy," and we met, we hit off. I still speak to him now. So there's just been so many different moments through the 10 years that I've been there. That's been amazing. But definitely some of the big moments for everybody else is definitely big moments for me as well.
It is true what fighters say, when nothing compares to when someone that's their peer that goes through the day to day gives them a compliment, because
Yeah.
they know what it takes to get to where they are. What
Mm.
about some of your darkest moments? I know you suffered a one knockout loss uh,
Hmm.
during your run in Bellator. How were you able to overcome and bounce back throughout these
Yeah,
obstacles
like,
that are very few and far between, and that happened to you?
yeah, you know what? It's weird. I actually posted something today actually about um how we learn. I think, and people saying that we learn a lot more from our losses. I don't agree with that, because I think it depends on the mentality you have. I think you can learn from every interaction that you do everywhere. It could be communications skills. It could be relationship. It could be friendships. It could be whatever. You can learn if you choose to learn. And in combat, my coach before was my dad, and he was a person that would always focus on the things that I needed to improve on. So I would go out and I'd whoop everybody, and I've had the best day, and he'd come back and have a conversation with him. He's like, yeah, but why did you do this? Why did you do that? And he's targeting the bits that I should be going back and focusing on. And I'm like, oh yeah, he gives me that reality check. He doesn't try and just join in on the celebration and that's it. He'll celebrate with me, but he also told me like, bro, you messed up there, because on the next fight or with that type of fighter, you're not going to get away with that. So then when I got my new coach, and my coaches in London Shoot Fighters, they're the same. They exactly the same. It's exactly what I needed. My first fight, viral moment, and he's complaining that I didn't sprawl properly. I'm talking. As soon as he walked in the cage, I'm in celebration mode, and as soon as he walked in the cage, he's telling me that I didn't sprawl properly. That's the first thing he's telling me. But I love the fact that he has that mentality, because it keeps me wanting to make sure I better myself. So the knockout for me wasn't even a dark moment, because I used to get my ass whooped when I was a youth all the time. It wasn't even a dark moment. It was a loss. It literally, that's what it was. It's like a loss that I needed to get back, and that's what I did. A dark moment for me in that time was my father passed away 3 months, I think, or 2 months before I had to fight my arch nemesis, Paul Daly. So that whole time was very weird for me. One, but obviously losing someone so close, someone I've looked up to for a long time, is difficult in itself. But then I was using training as an escapism to get away from those emotions that I was feeling. So, but my coach was worried about me. So he's like, I was trying to find any reason to pull you out of this fight, because nobody should be comfortable like, still training and doing that. But I was like, no, I need to keep that focus, like keep going. And I was fine. I was doing exceptional in the gym. And then I got into the cage on the night and my brain went blank. I had nothing. It's like it just hit me in that moment. So just have that battle going from, just through, even though it was helping, it was a weird thing, because the same thing that's helping is the same thing that reminds me of the person that I've lost.
Yeah, so how do you even process that? You enter the cage and your mind goes blank, but the fight's about to start. Like, what do you do?
I literally went into survival mode, but I couldn't. Normally, I've got so many ideas, and I'm very present. So I'm in play mode. I'm like, he's doing something, or even if he was to catch a shot, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get you back on that one, and I'm still in my play mode. I had nothing. I could almost hear myself think, which was scary, because it means you're 10 steps behind. So he grabbed me and he did a takedown, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? I need to, and this is how I can hear myself. Wow. And I'm never in that state of mind in a fight. And that's normally like training. Like I'm talking like when we're drilling something. But yeah, it was just, I don't even know how I managed to kind of go through that. And then even after the fight, I had a bit of a kind of crash, like mentally, and then I had to kind of, build myself back up. But yeah, those things, that time were not only just for myself, but for my family. And because I'm such a family oriented person, having that kind of pain around is difficult. You know what I mean? And I'm a person that always wants to try and help everybody else as well. So it's I'd say that's probably hardest time. Yeah, that's probably the hardest time I had during, and that's what I'm trying to say. People forget that we have lives outside of what you see on the screen. Yeah. We just don't publicize it. It's not like, we're like, oh yeah, I don't care to be like, oh, my dad, and cry online and tell everyone to feel sorry for me. That's not my thing. Yeah. So it was, but people forget that, people will rip me afterwards. Like, that was a crap fight. That was a boring fight. That was this, that was terrible. And I'm like, I couldn't even be myself, even if I tried to.
Yeah, I understood. Talking about your father and growing up, your father was your trainer and instructor, and you had 9 other siblings, 4 others who became kickboxing champions as well. What the hell was growing up in your house like when everyone is just fucking karate chopping shit and just fucking like, what are the arguments like? What are you even doing? It's like, I mean, It's like a Royal Rumble every day or something.
It's funny because I'm so close to my siblings, and I think it's because, you know, that old saying, like, the family that trains together stays together. I think it there's some, for us anyway, there's some realness in that, because the reason why I took to martial arts so much is because it just meant family for me. We share the same father, we have different mothers, but we were still so like this. On top of that, three of my older siblings, they moved to America, which is why, you know, I come over here to go see them and see my nephews and nieces. So it's even though the distance and, you know, the fact that we wasn't raised in the same house, the martial arts was was our glue, and we are close. I hear people have arguments with their siblings about some of the most stupid things, and I'm like, I can't even relate. I literally can't relate, because we are all so close. We crack jokes together, like, we travel together, smile, laugh. Just it's amazing for me. Like, I love having them around. And then when we was younger, it's weird. Like, we didn't really think, just because we had that kind of discipline through training, we didn't really get into like too many arguments. But any fights that we did get into was, yeah, it was like 0 to a million. Like, it was a proper fight, like
some high level
like,
shit.
Technical.
Yeah.
Technical. Then we get in trouble. We have to apologize to each other, hug it out, and then back to normal, like nothing happened.
No, that's the way. That's the way it is. That's the way it should be. Just a couple more questions before I let you go. Let's talk about your bare knuckle experience. How easier on the body was it training for bare knuckle compared to MMA, where you're only just doing boxing?
I think it was definitely a lot easier on the body, because, as you say, it's just boxing, so it's just two areas that I'm kind of focusing on, mainly, and we do boxing training anyway, but adding all the rest of the things so I was still doing jiu-jitsu and stuff anyway, still definitely focusing on wrestling, doing a little bit more Greco wrestling, just because you're allowed to do dirty boxing in the bare knuckle, so you can still clinch and keep throwing those punches, whereas in normal boxing you're not allowed to. So having obviously Mike Perry, because he's former MMA, there was not really a massive advantage in that area, because he knows that kind of game as well. Whereas a lot of boxers, I utilize the clinch work and the maneuvers on the inside against boxers, and they tend to struggle with that kind of area. But I had fun, weirdly enough. It didn't go my way. I felt like I won it. When I actually looked back at it properly, I was like, yeah, if somebody was actually judging that properly, I feel like I won that. But regardless of the result, I genuinely had fun. My family hated it. Every single member, family, friends, they were like, don't do that shit again. But I loved it. I enjoyed it. It felt real.
I mean, it looks savage as hell. Just like, I don't know, like when I watch bare knuckle, I just think of like the difference it must feel on the impact where there's no glove, and it's just like, it's different when you, like, let's say you get into a street fight and you take, a couple punches, but if you're having like, 5, 6 rounds, and it's just straight.
Yeah. Bro, it is exactly that, because one is different than a street fight, because guys on the street don't know how to fight. As much as they can say that they done this, they done that, they don't know how to fight at all. And so it's not the same as a street fight. Most people that are in street fights it was like a 30-second fight. It felt like it was ages, but it probably lasted 30 seconds longest, and that was it. But when you got someone that knows how to fight in front of you and knows how to land punches, when they've landed a punch, as you say, even if it grazes you, there's damage. Your face will swell or it will cut. Whereas in an MMA glove, even though MMA gloves is, smaller than the boxing gloves, obviously, but there's certain times you can take a shot and it doesn't do anything. You can ride a shot, but in bare knuckle, that doesn't exist. If that punch grazes you, you're in problem. So it's best to avoid at all costs, and it's hard to avoid because you're in such a small space. But I found it fun. It took me a little while to kind of get used to it, which is why my first round for me was so bad. Like, I wasn't comfortable with the canvas and the size. I didn't realize it actually looks like the canvas is a lot bigger from the outside, but the way they position the ropes, it makes everything very, very small. And obviously I like to move, but it took me a little while to get into it. And because I got rocked right at the beginning, it kind of just threw everything out the window. But I would definitely do that again.
God damn, that shit looks so savage, man. All right, dog. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're a busy man.
Problem, my bro.
You're doing job interviews and shit. I hope you get everything that you're looking for in this free agency period.
You, bro.
And yeah,
Thank
man,
you, bro.
go get him. Hope we talk again soon.
Definitely.
After you have some news. Adios, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Nice one, my bro. Thank you, bro.
Hey guys, what's up? Izzy here. Like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed this video.